Warning, the following podcast is intended for immature dads only. Listener discretion is advised. This is Dad's Game Review, the most casual hardcore gamers around. Reviews and news from every platform. We waste our time so you don't have to.
What's up, kids? Welcome to another episode of Dad's Game Review. I'm your host, Paul Squilacci, and over here, across from me, is the great Josh Gosh.
Great. Did I level up? I mean, I love RPGs. I'll level up. That's fine. Go from mediocre to great.
I was annoyed when it started because I couldn't. The sound effects weren't recording, so I'm gonna have to add.
Yeah.
them
Once
in
again,
post.
we have no sound effects. We can't figure out what this is the deal with this program. He's like contacted customer service and everything multiple times, tech support.
80 emails back and forth.
Right. And like we went from having sound effects to having none. So I'm sorry, all you get is two guys talking. I mean, I can go ooh, 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 and like make weird noises if you want. Anyway,
what's going on with you?
Well, you go first because you were sicky poo.
I was so sick. Like, it felt like COVID, but like without the fever. So I just kept going and just was like, it's just a sore throat. I'm just coughing a little, So I was just like, I worked for I worked for FedEx. FedEx, you don't get sick. If you don't work, you don't get paid. So so it was like day cool day, night cool nights, and I just would push through. And now, I'm like, oh, okay, I'll just push through again. But it wouldn't let up. Like, I woke up one day and I couldn't even lift my head off the pillow.
Yeah, he was every time I talked to him, he was
days.
like in bed. And the thing is, his wife quarantined him and locked him in the room. So he couldn't even come out and play video games. I'm like, can Paul come out and play? And she's like,
Right.
no, he can't come out and play. He's sick.
Right. I just couldn't do it. I was just like, what's going on? And I couldn't figure out what was the deal. And I just kept going forward and going forward, and then out of nowhere, I just started to get better. And I was just like, oh, okay, well, all
It's
right.
almost like what
Let's-
happens with being sick. You suddenly start to get better.
Yeah,
No, but
I
what's going
mean,
around right now? So we're in the healthcare system. So
yeah.
my wife literally had 30 cases of COVID at her building a couple weeks ago. So how she didn't get it, I don't know.
Right.
Flu A is going around too, which is like super bad, like the worst flu. And then there's a razor blade COVID that's going around, which is supposed to be the worst sore throat that you'll have in your life on top of
Right.
COVID. So everybody's sick. And then in my life, out of nowhere,
Right.
my wife had a seizure for the first time in 12 years.
Oh my God.
And I was sitting here. I just got off stream on a Saturday, and I get a message that she's in an ambulance. So I'm gonna tell the story real quick because it's kind of fucking crazy. Her and her sister were headed to go see Grandpa. We have Grandpa in a memory care unit.
Right.
They get there and they see an ambulance sitting outside, and she says, "Wouldn't that be funny if they were there for Grandpa?"
Oh
Well,
my God.
she walks in
Never
the
say that.
door. She walks in the door. Grandpa's on the floor with a head wound. He's fighting off the nurses in front of her.
Oh
And
my God.
I guess she said she started to not feel good around that time. And so she got in the back of the ambulance to ride with him to the hospital and then
Right.
proceeded to have a seizure and go unconscious for a minute and seize for a minute and then come to with the paramedic holding her. So she
Oh
had
my
the
God.
seizure of first time in 12 years in a freaking ambulance. And the last time she had a seizure, her heart and
Right.
breathing stopped. She had to get resuscitated.
Oh my
So
God.
the fact that she had it around a nurse the last time and then she had it in
Right.
a paramedic the next time, like,
Yeah.
yeah. So our life is back into a little bit of a mess because she was learning to drive finally and she can't now because, yeah. And now I got this in the back of my mind that it could happen again in any minute. So it was a stressful couple weeks, the
Yeah, I
last couple
bet.
weeks.
Ugh.
But
Yeah. So,
we were supposed to do The Last of Us 2 for our game.
yeah.
But once again, Paul was sick, so he didn't play any of it. So I had to think a spur of the moment, and I was trying to think of something that I love that, we could do. And I thought of these games called Far. There's two
Right.
games in the series. It's made by a Swedish developer named Okomotive. Okomotive. I think I only saw they
Locomotive.
only have a few games, but two of them are Far. So we have Far Lone Sails, and we have Far Changing Tides. They're about 3 hours each, and I told Paul, let's run through them real quick. And Can you
Far
guess what
Changing
Paul did?
Tides.
Can you guess what Paul
Oh,
did?
no, I didn't. I didn't get to it. I
First, I
got
told him
frustrated.
the first one was Lone Sails. He was supposed to play that one because that's the easier one, and then
Right.
he actually picked Changing Tides, which is like bigger and harder and more developed and stuff. So he got the experience of the newer one, but I was hoping he'd play the first one. So
Well,
I'm gonna talk about both of them. He's gonna share his under 2 hours that he played.
okay. So let me do the little preamble thing and Far Changing Tides is a 2022 adventure puzzle video game developed by Okamotive and published by Frontier Foundry. The game is a successor to the game Far Lone Sails, the one I didn't play, and it was released for Windows, Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, 5, Xbox, and
It's
all the
everywhere, and
favorites.
it's cheap.
Yeah.
That when I first bought this game, when I bought Far Lone Sales, I played it on the Switch in about 3 hours in one sitting, and it was $1.99.
Yeah,
And
Changing Tides was free, but Lone Sails was the $1.99 as well.
yeah,
Yeah.
and they're both on PS Plus, I believe, right now. And
Oh,
I loved
okay.
it so much, I actually bought the limited edition release. Only the first one has a physical copy, and it comes with a nice soundtrack and some stickers and a card and everything. And so I
Right,
tracked it
right.
down. It's a little pricey, but would I find a cool, cheap digital that I play? If there's a physical release of it, I always try and acquire it. Like
Right,
I did
right.
the same thing for Figment 1 and 2, which we covered a couple months ago, and like went out there and bought their collector's edition because I thought they were great little 99-cent games. So support your developer, people. Support your developer releasing physicals.
Well, so as far as this game goes, um, hey kids, if you ever wanted to know what it was like to drive a barrel that was built by Fiat, uh, then yeah, this is the game for you. Um, this
Jesus.
that's what it is.
It's pretty, yeah. I mean,
It's
they're
just
both
a
pretty much
barrel
moving,
that
but
keeps breaking down.
they're moving
It's
barrels, both of them.
fueled by wet cardboard or whatever junk you find on the sea floor. And you just kind of like, you're like, oh, okay. Oh, I guess I can burn this. And then you just keep going and you're like, yeah, all right.
But
And you
what?
just,
Talk. So
okay,
the
so,
star of the game is not the characters in either one. The little
right,
characters, there's a red character and there's a blue character in the both games,
right,
each game. That's not the star. The star is the machine that you get because the
right.
machine is
Is a
how you're
barrel.
gonna. It's just a go right game. We've talked about those go right like
Yeah,
puzzle platformers.
right.
You have all these buttons to maneuver that thing to get it to move, and that's the whole game. So tell me your
And
experience.
so you get in the barrel and you
The
slowly figure
boat.
out
It's a
the,
boat.
it's a barrel. So you get the front part of it's a barrel. So you get in this boat and you start to figure out things, and then it starts popping up with like, oh, you have sails. Let's raise the sail and see what happens. And you raise the sail, and then there's these little blue markers as to where things should be in your boat. So like the mast has like a blue thing up at the top where you have to keep the flag at all times to get optimal speed. And then you start doing that, and then all of a sudden you hit a bridge and your sail breaks in half, but it doesn't break. It just kind of knocks itself down. But then you start to realize, oh, I got paddles with an engine inside. How do I make that work? And then you figure out how to make that work. I have to admit, by the second puzzle, I was already on walkthroughs, and I went up, went up, and I was like, oh, you got to feed it this wet cardboard. Oh wait, you could feed it anything. It was just junk that you found, and you start feeding it, and then you have to jump on this what is that thing for a fireplace that plumes air? I
Yeah, the
forgot
little
what that's called.
bellows. That's how
A
you power
bellows,
the
yeah.
engine.
You
Yeah.
jump on this bellows and it creates an airflow, and then oh, don't let it get too hot, because if it gets too hot then it breaks. But oh, you have a fixing tool. But guess what happened to Paul? Paul was looking for shit to burn and I couldn't find anything, so I burned my tool.
And then you
So
can't repair nothing.
that's the first adventure. So I'm just sitting in the water thinking to myself, what do I do now? Oh, all right. Well, I hit the pause menu, looking around. Meanwhile, the walkthrough's just going through as if you know this, but you can't repair. You can't, once you burn your tool's gone. So you have to like go back and load from a save point. So you go to the save point. And then once you go to the save point, you're like, oh, okay, so I don't mind. I'll do this again. And then you just kind of go through the whole motions again, keeping an eye on the hotness of the engine because you don't want it to overheat. Um, I think it was the second level, was it with you? Did you play the second one like I did, Changing Tides, or did you just play the first one?
No, I beat them both.
Oh, you did. All right. Let humble brag. Let's take it down a
I play
notch.
our games. So I'm not going to talk about something unless I've actually played it. I like to sound smart. It's just a thing I do.
All right. Take it easy. I Yeah, no, because that's the way I do things. I get frustrated and I go, "What the hell's this?" And then I get high and then I forget. And then and then the next morning I somehow wake up further down than I never thought I would because I'm a genius when I'm high for some reason. Um,
So
so
okay, the ramblings there is actually the thought process you have when you're running around this ship because
right,
you literally have to maintain all these different buttons at once. And like he was saying, it's a little more elaborate than just putting the sails up. Like you see that your wind's blowing, so you need to get the sails up to take advantage of that so you save the fuel for your engine. And the fuel is whatever
right,
trash you collect on the ocean floor and stuff.
yeah.
So you run up there, you have to first hit a button to raise up the mast, then you have to climb that mast, grab a hook from the top, jump down, attach the hook over to the side of the thing, which will then raise your sails, and then you have a slider back and forth that you
Which
do to
brings
turn the
me to
sails.
my next point. After the first time that you realize that you go up to the top of the mast and you pull the sails out because the sails open when you pull on this pulley, the pulley's on some type of retractable pulley system. So, like, if you drop it or you miss it, it just, and it just goes back up.
There's a point for that though. You talked about hitting the bridges because
Yeah, but that has
you
nothing to
have
do
to
with the
yeah, it does. You have to undo that and let it pop right back up, and then you have to hit the button real quick so your mast comes down so you don't get hit by bridges and things that are on your above you.
pish posh.
That's how
Why
you
don't
save it
we
from
just
catching on
take
fire.
why don't we just take that coiling system and destroy it and just stop from the wire that's holding up the
Because then
sails?
you'd have less to do. This whole game is about micromanaging a massive machine, and he's doing the boat one, and the boat is twice as big as the land machine. So let me tell you about the land machine
Poppycock.
real quick. The land machine the land machine's half the size of the boat. This is the first one. This is the easier one. If you want to try the series, try Far Lone Sails. That's the one.
No, I'm done.
That one you just have that one's the same. You feed trash into your thing for fuel, and then you push a button to start it, and then every time your steam builds up, you press the turbo button to take off. So that's how you control the thing. Then you've got a nice little electrical fixer and fire fixer, whereas on the one he played, he only had the limited fixes with the little thing that he accidentally
Right.
burned. You have unlimited fixes with your land vehicle. You've got a little suction thing you can turn on, which will automatically pick up all the trash on the floor as you go by, so you don't have to jump in and out of your car to get it or your
Whoa, whoa, whoa,
vehicle.
whoa, 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 whoa.
Yeah,
Oh, that's the
that's the
first.
first one. I'm talking about the first one. And
I
then
was
that one
like,
also has a sail, but it's for a land thing. So you pop your sails up when you can, catch the wind when you can, use the engine when you have to. And it's just there's probably half the buttons on the first one that you deal with on the boat because sequels are always bigger and better. And it is. The
that's
second one's definitely bigger, but give Lone Sails a try to see the idea of what it is like to micromanage these not little, these big machines.
right. Okay. So now what?
No, okay, well, so he only got to the part two. Where'd you stop? You stopped when you got a
Okay.
submarine, right?
So you go along and you're pumping along, and after having to literally, Josh, I've had to load save points 5 separate times. I just either I was stupid or I wasn't getting it or I wasn't paying attention, which is a high possibility of all of those three. And I just wasn't getting it. I just was like, what is going on? Like what?
They tell you nothing. There's no
Yeah,
story
oh
in
yeah,
this
of
game.
course.
They tell you nothing. You get in the machine and
Classic
you have to
nothing.
experiment. But that's part of the fun to me is because you have to experiment to see what does what. I was a little kid that liked playing with those kind of toys where it's like if I turn this, does that. If I do this, it does that. Experiment, try different things. So
I did too.
it was fun. That's
I
what I like
always
about
liked those
the
toys. I was always taking my toys apart and breaking
yeah,
them.
bop it, twist it, turn it,
Yeah,
pull
yeah,
it.
yeah. I know.
But that's the half of the fun is getting in this machine and being like, well, what the hell do I do? And then as you go along, and in changing tides, you keep picking up energy cores, which gives you new attachments.
right.
So the only thing you got, I think, was the submarine, right?
Yeah. So I got up to the point where, so your sails are useless because you're in some type of, I don't want to say cave, but you go under a bridge and there's just no wind in this area. So then all of a sudden you figure out, oh, wait, this thing has a contraption where these oars come out of the sides and they row for you because they're attached to the engine. and then you just use that for a while, but your engine overheats from time to time. And they include a fire hose so you could cool it down, which in the beginning, I was cooling everything down. I was putting out the fire that steamed the engine. So I kept going, and I just was like, "Oh, okay, so this is that." But then you come to a brick wall, like just boom. There's no going anywhere. So I think it's the third puzzle you get up to, and you go over and you go up on top of this rock and you find this iron ore that you stick into the vessel that makes it somehow submergible now. So
Well, you get a pressure hose. You have this hose up there that can be turned on for suction or for water. So you put
right.
out your fires with the water. The
Yeah,
suction, you do other things. So when you attach this suction hose that's there to the other side of this diving bell that you get, it
right.
sucks the air out and you submerge. So you then have now a lever which is controls whether you go up or down underwater, and then you have your engine which you use to move forward underwater with the paddles.
Right. So that happens and you become a submarine. And now I'm chugging along as a submarine, just going, 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 going. And all of a sudden it was like, oh crap, I forgot to look for shit on the floor of the sea.
Yeah,
So now,
you can soft lock yourself in this game by running out of fuel or
yeah,
burning
so I
your
stopped and I'm
tools.
like, crap, what do I do? I started swimming. I kept swimming. I must have swam back like miles to to look for stuff to burn. And that's where I told you I burned my tool, my fixing tool. But that's a stupid idea because then your engine breaks down and then you have to fix it. But guess what? You burned it. You burned
Yeah,
the
so
tool.
he soft locked himself in his situation, and the thing is, you can go back multiple chapters, but he I guess he tried like a couple times and just gave up. So after the submarine, you do a long part with the submarine, and so here's the layout of how the game goes.
Right.
Long kind of floating part where you're just managing sails and engine, and you're just going across the sea, and then you reach a stop point where the stop point will have some platforming puzzle along with
Right.
buttons and switches. Like one of them is a mill where you have to learn you use cutting saws to do stuff and move out of the way. The goal is just to move whatever thing out of the way and keep progressing. At one point, you raise an entire sunken city. Like it gets big. I sent up a video of the sunken city rising last night. Like so, this little
Right.
engine that could
Yeah.
starts
Yeah.
doing these big things as you go along. So after the submarine and stuff, you end up in an ice level, a desert area. It's just you. Let me pull up Changing Tides here. And what I really love is that it's got that break of those serene moments where you can finally relax because you're micromanaging nonstop. You're working. He
Oh,
said he was
yeah.
getting bored. I'm like, how
It
the
doesn't
fuck
end.
do you get bored when you can't stop doing anything? So the only time you really get to stop is when you're actually on the ocean or out in the middle of the desert with the first one,
Yeah. Yeah.
and you can just put your sails up and you just go, ah. All right, relax for a minute. And then something stupid comes along and breaks your sails, and you're like,
Oh, yeah.
fuck.
And you're just like, wait, 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 wait. You're just
But so
like,
the platforming stuff is all great. There's giant cranes that you move around. There's this flying balloon that you learn to inflate and end up flying through the sky.
all right.
There's a lighthouse that you light. There's all the energy cores you collect, a train station you do a train puzzle with. So Changing Tides has all these, it's way more elaborate. You can actually you could get out of your machine in the first one, but you can swim underwater in this one. You do all these
Right.
big platforming levels where the other one was pretty basic. So it becomes a much bigger game. And it's you didn't okay, yeah, so you didn't see the end. Here's something I love about the end of these games.
Okay.
Um, the first one ties into the second one in a really cool way. At least I found it
Right.
cool.
Yeah.
There's no real story in these. You interpret it. You're both going through like the first one looks like you're in apocalyptic desolate
Right.
wasteland. The
Yeah.
second one is like a sunken world of everything's been flooded or there's ice or whatever everywhere. And so both of them, the ending of the first, you get there and you light a flame to send smoke signals. And then
Right.
it fades out and you just sit there at the end of the thing with the flame on the smoke signals. The
Right.
second
Right.
one, you get to a lighthouse, you light the lighthouse, and then you're like, okay, start heading back. And the second one ends with you coming face to face with the land vehicle and the guy
Right.
sitting there that just did the smoke signal.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I thought it was cool how the second one end tying into another one, and you just have to make your own story out of this.
Yeah.
And it's just I love it. I love the series. This is the third time I've played Far Lone Sails, which is the first one, and this is the second time I've played Changing Tides.
I've
And
gotten to the point where like I played it, I rewound by going back and loading a save point and then going, "Oh, I know what to do this time. Don't run out of equipment and don't burn your tool." and I go in there and I just went back so many times that I didn't have gas to go find
Yeah,
more.
you were completely soft locked because you had no way to get
Yeah.
to any more fuel. But there's
Which
always the way
means
to
at that point
back up the
I had to
chapters.
load not the previous one, I had to load the previous one. And that's, I found this game, it was okay. Like it was okay to play. It was mind numbing. It was like something like when you play solitaire at work. It was like, like you just kind of like were almost on autopilot, but not all the way. And you just kind of were like, okay, you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to do this, and you got to keep an eye on that, and then you got to keep an eye on this. Oh, don't let that happen. And after loading 5 different times, I just was like, I'm not interested anymore. I'm really not interested in
No, I
this
get it. I
game.
get pissed off when I have to if I die too much or
It
I
wasn't,
get
I
stuck.
wasn't necessarily pissed. I was just bored. I was just bored of like micromanaging. It's the same thing. Now, believe it or not, for those that remember Roller Coaster Tycoon,
Talk
the
about boring.
no, how dare you, sir? How dare
Oh, I can sit here and
you?
watch money go up. Well, fucking roller coaster. I know it's everybody's favorite childhood game. I thought it was boring.
So, but even that got to be frustrating and boring because you're just doing, you know, build a roller coaster. The last one I played on Roller Coaster Tycoon last year, I was on a mission to build completely gold out Roller Coaster Tycoon, like every single scenario, every single park. And I just played every day, and I just was like, okay, play, 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 play. But it got to the gold ones, and the gold ones were so freaking hard that you just lose interest after a while.
That's
It was
literally
like
most games. Like that's why there's platinum trophies out
build
there. They
10 roller coasters
put
that will
shit in there
make
that people
people
don't want
throw
to
up
do.
when they get off of it. Like build 10 roller coasters that people will throw up when they get off of it. By the way, do it on this skinny peninsula. And you just like you
That's literally
start
trophies though. That's how it works. That's
you
they just do
start
inane things,
building
stupid
roller
things.
coasters and you're like this is impossible. So you go and you start because you can custom build. They're not, you can do pre-built ones, but there's custom ones too. And I'm going like underwater with these, and I'm just like, you know what? I'm done. I, what's the reward to this? Like I
Exactly.
just
Digital rewards, achievements, trophies. That's the whole driving purpose of why people do things that you wouldn't think of doing in a game just to get a trophy. And it's not worth it half the time. I only have 11 platinums, and I most of them are on Like a Dragon Yakuza games. So it's like, unless I really love a game, I don't care about all that little shit. Doesn't matter.
right, right.
But I love these games. Like I think they're great, and the I ended up getting 72% of the trophies on this game with just a playthrough, and
All right,
I didn't have anything catch fire once. I had some things smoke a few times. I got my mast hitting down a few times. But what you can do, like I said, is you can go back multiple chapters if you want to.
right.
And I ran out of gas at one point and I got frustrated. I was like, well, shit, it was this long trip. You pass the sea gate and you go into the open ocean, and that's where you get like beautiful neon jellyfish and big whales coming through and all this kind of stuff.
Right, right.
But it's a long, long trek on the ocean. I didn't know how long. You don't know. So you don't know if you have enough fuel for it. So I ran out of the fuel the first time. Second time, I just took a more strategic approach. I played my sail out as long as I could
Right,
before I
right.
had to switch to the engine. And then you get a turbo boost on this one. There's all kinds of attachments you get. You get a deep sea crane, you get a turbo boost.
Right,
Um,
right.
and you work the turbo boost by keeping that, that little meter for your engine in the blue,
Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
and you
yeah.
have to keep it in the blue. So I had to like chain feed just enough gas without overheating it. You had to be perfect on this, like really perfect. I had to be able to hit 3 boosts to be able to get through this whole
Right.
giant ocean area. So it just
Yeah,
took a
yeah.
different approach to it, being strategic about it. I like task-based things. I loved running
Okay.
around it and doing all the little tasks and stuff, but that's me. I think it keeps me busy, and maybe it's the
Right.
ADHD, but I was busy the whole time. And when I could relax, you'd have these beautiful landscapes and like backgrounds and stuff. And with this like these poignant little piano notes and string melodies and stuff, like the music would
Right.
come in on these important moments, and it kind of gives you that you hear the breeze and the ocean and like the music
Yeah.
coming in, and it gives you chills. And it's that Frisian I talked about where you get those little chills down your arms, and it's just like a beautiful scene with music, and I love it. So I will rave
I
about these games. He didn't get to experience them, so it's whatever.
I don't, you know, uh I don't know if I'm jealous that he gets these thrills and I don't, or that
It's
I'm just
also
mad that
to
he
me,
just
it's also
constantly gets
a
them.
life lesson too, because the whole purpose, if you want to assign meaning to these games,
Right.
these little people have to work their freaking asses off. And that's kind of why the payoff at the end, lighting a smoke signal and
Right.
lighting a lighthouse, it makes you stop and go, wait, they just went through all that for that? And it's like hard work that you this little guy is working his ass off to get to where he needs to go. No matter how
Right.
menial it is or whatever, if you work hard, you will get where you need to go. You have to
Right.
work your ass off. And that's something my dad instilled in me too. It's like you don't half-ass things. That's why I try and play these
Right.
games and beat them. I'm not going to half-ass like anything I do. I try and do it the best what I can. So I think having all this work to do on these little machines, like just kind of, I don't just appeals to me. It's fun because I worked my ass off to get that 3 hour, 4 hour mark and then light the fire and complete the game. And it just
Right.
feels good.
What do you think, Kiera?
About the state
He's
of
talking to
video
his daughter.
games in the political arena in regards to the Russia-Ukraine incident.
What?
I have no idea what they were
What the fuck are you talking about?
I'm not putting her on camera because
We
she
can't
just
hear
got
you
out of
anyway.
she just got out of the shower and she just
Yeah, don't
walked in.
put your daughter out of the shower on camera. Thanks, dude. I think she would
No,
be not
she
appreciative
wasn't
of
on
that.
camera. I
can
just
see
moved the I just moved the microphone over. She just I don't know. Anyway, what else are we talking about?
Well, I have a page of news. I
you
stayed
do?
I stayed up for an hour until midnight last night searching news because I wanted to
Okay.
do the best I can.
All right.
So,
well,
what do you got for news? You said
we're
you
just
had one
gonna
thing.
do because the sounds aren't working. We're just
Yeah.
gonna do ba ba da ba ba. Hi, this is news, and I'm Gary Gnu. Do you remember that show?
You're gonna reference something old, aren't you?
I'm too old.
Okay.
The Great Space Coaster. Look it up. Read a book. So in other news, the state of Louisiana is suing Roblox. And when I told you that originally, you were like, again? What now?
Well, parents are
didn't
always
know they
bitching
were-
about it and like the gambling aspect of it and all that kind of stuff. Like it's just it's a child addicted game and it's had problems with pedophilia and stuff. People pretending to get close to children and stuff. So I'm like I'm not surprised there's another lawsuit. What is it this time?
So it just says that the state of Louisiana has filed a lawsuit against Roblox for its failure to protect kids from predatory behavior.
There we go. That's what I just said.
I'm fence with this. Can I tell you, as
Yeah.
a dad, okay? I don't think it's Roblox's responsibility to be the parent. Right?
I totally agree. Like limit your kids'
So here's
activity
the
or
thing.
whatever.
I'm going to tell you a story that might bore you for a second, right?
Oh boy.
When I worked at FedEx, there was a lawsuit, right? Because you could ship literally anything with FedEx and nothing gets scanned. Like it gets scanned generally, like for explosives, but it doesn't get scanned for things like drugs, or alcohol. It just doesn't get scanned that way. And, I can't tell you how many times I was sitting in my truck and I was like, what's that smell? It was like, oh yeah, this box
Full
filled
of
with
weed.
pounds of weed, and you just
skunky in
deliver it and you don't think anything of it. So the government came along and they were like, hey, FedEx, you can't do that. You have to go through the stuff that you're shipping, right? Huge lawsuit.
Is that when they started doing x-rays and stuff for shipping materials and all that?
Well, they went along and they were like, so they went to court. And the U.S. government took FedEx to court, and it was determined by the judge at the point. He said, "Hey, it's not FedEx's job to scan these. They're being paid for a service to deliver from point A to point B. They're not morally responsible to look for Columbia Bang Bang in every single package that comes across." And so they won that case.
So
And
they didn't
now-
have to be accountable for it.
So they didn't have to be accountable.
Okay.
Same thing here. Roblox
Yeah.
is not accountable for your parenting, or should I say, lack thereof, parenting. You have to
can-
get in the game. Oh, I don't know anything about electronics. Well, start to learn.
You can
This is your
do you
kid.
can do all kinds of age verification stuff. You can do whatever you need to like prove it. There's always going to be some creep that's pretending to be something else. That's what the internet is a bunch of creeps pretending to be something else. That at least that's what my mom told me.
I don't know. I mean, that's the thing.
It's just you can protect your child by controlling the screen time or like being around and active and see what they're playing, like show an interest
Right.
in your kid.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
at the same time, they're children. It's just fucked overall because kids and teenagers are going to have these predatory acts against them when the internet is one big wide open cesspool. You can't
Right.
protect yourself from everything. Shit's gonna happen. So
I just don't find that it's like, I just don't. I don't like this blaming culture that we've developed into, where it's like, well, who's responsible? Well, hey,
At
let's
the same
first
time,
look
people
at
should be held accountable, though. Not enough
let's
people are
look
held
at what
accountable.
yeah, let's look at what we're doing first before we go blaming people. Well, it was, you've worked in an office environment. You ever, and you play that office calisthenics where it was like, whose fault was it? Not mine. It was Carol's. And you just kind of like it's just passing the buck. And it's like, well, look, nobody wants to be in trouble for any one thing, but we could all be aware of what's going on and how it presents itself. And on top of that, it's not your job.
Yeah.
Roblox, it's not your job.
Well,
And I
look at
might be because I'm a video game enthusiast. Like that. I don't want to blame developers, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, look, I don't know.
there's
I,
nobody's accountable and nobody's truly honest. Like
I'm
look
in
at
the middle.
society.
I'm in the middle because the grandma who wants to make the grandchild happy knows nothing about this. Doesn't care to know about this. And it's not like, oh, I don't care. It's like they're older and they want to make their grandchildren happy. So it's like, now what? So there is some responsibility on Roblox's part, but I don't know. I don't know
I
where to
don't
go with
care.
it.
I don't. It's whatever. Like I mean, if you're gonna, it all comes down to the parents. You either pay attention to what your child's doing or you don't. And yeah, I don't have kids, so maybe I'm apathetic towards it.
I don't know. On top of that, on August 14th, Louisiana Attorney General Liz Muriel filed a child protection lawsuit against Roblox for permitting and perpetrating an online environment in which the child predators thrive. Look,
Well, that's enough Roblox. Yeah, it's whatever. They have ways of weeding out people, but it's still going to happen no matter what. So
I don't.
they're trying to get money and they're trying to hold somebody accountable. And if you look at society, government, and corporations, nobody's ever fucking accountable and nobody's ever held accountable. So
So what
it's whatever.
about Minecraft? I mean, you could pick on anything.
Yeah,
What about Call of Duty?
anything multiplayer, you're gonna have weirdos out there. All right. Anyway, AEA is laying off 5% of its workforce. It's more
Again?
firings, more four
I
firings.
feel like this is weekly.
Microsoft did it, it's 1,900 people or whatever a couple weeks ago. EA's like, yeah, well, let us too. And
Yeah, yeah.
they also canceled a Titanfall game, which I'm sure the Titanfall community is heartbroken because that has a very cult following. And
Right,
Titanfall were 2 was amazing. I didn't even have to do the multiplayer. The
right,
campaign of 2 was just amazing. So Titanfall's gone, Black Panther game is gone, and those games were far in development. And then Need for Speed, the whole series was shut down.
right,
So
right,
EA's not selling their shit. And so everybody's getting cut, and hopefully it leads to what happened with Ubisoft firings and people go and create their own smaller studio and release stuff like Expedition 33. Your game
right,
developers, go make games you want to do, not what the corporations are telling you to do for money.
right.
I thought it was cool. I just ran across something from last year. It was actually in October last year. Somebody actually beat Tetris. They didn't know it was possible. So they've seen,
How could you
some
not know that's possible?
it's never been possible. The furthest they've got is a kill screen, which was by a 13-year-old in named Willis Gibson. He got to level 157, and the only thing that had ever gotten that far in Tetris to that point was AI. And so he got further than AI, and the kill screen hit, and the game shut off. In 2024, though, this guy named Michael Artiga got what's called a rebirth game, and this is the true like finishing Tetris. He got to level 255 and then
Uh,
it rounded back to zero. It went over the top. The odometer went over the top and went back to zero. And so he's the true
okay.
holder of beating Tetris. And have you ever seen these pro Tetris players play?
No.
It is insane the amount of just how fast they are with everything. It's instant. So these
Really?
people how far have you even gotten on Tetris? Maybe like 12, 10 to 20. These
Yeah,
people are
maybe.
these are
Because
people are in
it's
like 200 level 250 where it's rapid fire. You have
yeah.
milliseconds to decide what you're doing, and these kids are just like on a whole nother autistic level. Like
Right, right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's pretty impressive.
But
New
so what
releases.
happens at the end? Is this like Pac-Man
No,
256
that it's
where the screen
at those
starts?
points the games just break. Like they never were set up. That wasn't set up to have an ending. It just
Yeah,
broke in
like
a
Pac-Man.
reset. Yeah, yeah, exactly. You break Pac-Man or Donkey Kong when they got the kill screen on that.
I've
Um,
never gotten the kill screen on Donkey Kong. I've never gotten a
I
kill
don't
screen.
care. I don't want to do like who's playing NES games still? Just
You
God.
know, it's how many people, how many times can you play a game where it just keeps going and going and going.
You
Like
can be that dude Billy Mitchell and just make it your entire life and try and milk that thing for 30 years. You could be that asshole.
Oh, the most hated douchebag in all of video games.
All right, let
Oh
me
my
ramble
God.
on about new releases here.
Wait, 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 wait.
What?
We touched on Pac-Man 256.
What?
So I like the game that they came out with. I don't know if you remember that. They came out with a game called Pac-Man 256.
Oh, was
where
that
they
multiplayer one?
Yeah, they incorporated the garbled screen. So like when you played Pac-Man all the way to level 256, there wasn't enough RAM in the machine to hold
Yeah, it just
everything else.
pops up
So
with
it
shit.
would start to garble. Like
Yeah.
the screen would start to garble. But they made a game called Pac-Man 256 where it was very I as an old gamer, I appreciated it. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Oh, I was thinking of Pac-Man 99. They released that multiplayer Pac-Man 99
Oh
game
yeah,
on
Pac-Man,
Nintendo
and they did
Switch.
the same thing with Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah, I played that one a little bit too.
That was
All right,
cool, but
new
they just took it
releases.
offline. All right, all right, all right, all right. Go on, go on.
The
Go on.
Grounded was a very popular game, multiplayer game, survival game. You are little people in a big world. It's like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Grounded 2 just
Grounded,
came
it's
out.
called?
Yeah, Grounded. It's a PC game. I've watched people play it. Looks like a ton
Okay.
of fun with your friends. So everybody's raving about Grounded 2. Mafia: The Old Country came out. I'm playing it currently. I'm about 50% of the way done. He says we're going to be doing that for our podcast next week. We will
Not
see.
next week. Next week is The Last of Us.
Okay, never mind. I'll talk to you in a minute.
It's
Tales of the Shire came
kids,
out.
I'm in trouble.
Tales of the Shire came out. Everybody was pumped about this like Hobbit cozy game because the cozy game
Right.
fandom is like crazy. Yeah, it sucks. People were warned leading up to this release that it's not good, you guys. Like, just hold off. It's not good. A bunch of people bought it. There were returns everywhere. It got like a 3 out of 10 on a bunch of reviewers. It is trash. And
Right.
yeah, so another freaking Souls-like released. People actually didn't care because it didn't sell well. And now
Right.
they're getting backlash from China. They actually had to just do an update, and you can no longer kill some of the characters in the game because the Chinese were pissed off that you were killing off Ming Dynasty characters. So now when
What?
you beat some of these bosses, they just faint and they walk off, and they're like, all right, well, we're done.
Yeah.
Same with NPCs. I thought that was funny. So plus they made the game easier to try and appeal to more people. It didn't sell well.
Right.
So they made easier dodging with more invincibility and faster health refills. Battlefield 6 beta came out. I had it downloaded. I was going to try it for the first time since the 360 days when I loved Battlefield. I totally swore off all shooters, but Battlefield I liked back in the day. I was always a medic or an engineer. I loved helping people. It was just a fun
okay.
team-based, like explosive. So I'm going to try that, Battlefield 6. People are raving about it. They say they brought it back to the basics again. It's actually fun
Right.
again. And then the last game I want to talk about is called The Alters. So cool.
Is it?
So freaking cool. Oh my God. I had this game pre-ordered for a couple of months just because the premise and some of the user reviews I read about it like were trippy. So it's a survival base building game, and I hate both
Right.
those things. Hate both those things.
Oh,
it's-
that's right. This is like the Aquafina.
I wanted you to try this too. I think actually you
Okay.
might like it, but it's set in space. It's a sci-fi mystery. It's about you have a timeline of your life, and to stay alive, you get abandoned on this planet. And to stay alive, you have to create alters of yourself, clones. You learn how to clone yourself. And so what you do is your timeline of your life, every time that there's a big decision in your life that could have gone a different way, you can create a clone that took that different way. So you get to see
so
versions.
it's basically like you clone yourself on this island, and each clone comes with its own set of
its own story.
neurodivergent problems.
It's got its own story because it took a different life path. So you're creating clones with different life paths of your original track on life, and you
Right.
get to see all these possibilities. It's like if you asked yourself, what would have happened if I did something different back then?
Right.
That's what these alters are. And so what it is, they help you now explore the planet. They help manage your little base building where you kind of create this cool little ship with all these different rooms.
Right.
And they help you get resources and mine. But the coolest thing is learning, like I just love that you can take different choices in life. Like that is such a cool spinoff in this game. And
Right.
all the survival stuff, which I normally hate, collecting ore, setting up big machines, setting up
Mhm.
power towers, it's fun. It's actually really fun. So highly recommend you check out The Alters. And I had bonus games I'm going to talk about, but I've talked enough. So let's just talk about, here's your talking to. Here's your talking to.
I don't have I don't have my sound effects, so it's like I can't play my sounds. Or at least I
So
don't think it's recording.
You're not gonna. I don't think you're gonna beat. You're the one that wants. I need to give me the perspective on The Last of Us 2 because you've played it 5
Yeah.
times. You know the game inside and out. You're not
Right.
gonna complete it by next Friday.
I
So
think I will.
I think you can do the 10 hours of Mafia easier and that we can talk about The Last of Us after, because I'm 13
I'm
hours
having
into
so
The
much
Last of Us.
fun with The Last of Us again.
All right, okay, if you say you're gonna do it, then I need you to like
It's not this Friday, it's the Friday
finish it.
after.
God. It's driving me freaking nuts. I hate being the one to talk about everything. I'm sorry, you guys, I ramble on, but I just like
You're
I'm
not talking about everything.
I want to get like the actual like point of the game across and stuff, and it's just yeah, you gotta experience the game. So if you think you can finish Last of Us by next Friday, I will do it too. And then we have Mafia set
It's
up for
not
like the
next
week
Friday.
after. I mean, when? I thought you said
2
next.
Fridays.
Oh, okay. All right. Oh,
Every
2
2
weeks.
weeks. 2
Oh,
Fridays.
I thought we had talked about lining it up different. That's fine. Yeah,
Oh,
so okay, Last of Us 2 in 2
all right,
weeks.
my bad.
I'm about halfway through it already. It does have some changes, but I've only played it once, so I can't really like
Yeah,
tell you what's that different. But I'm gonna Google it
right.
too, so I kind of learn about it.
It's-
All right, 2 weeks, Last of Us 2.
All right. Well, I guess I'll talk to you later.
All right, night, bud.
See you in 2 weeks. We're gonna play The Last of Us, and I'm gonna come with a completed game.
You were gonna tell us so many cool things about that game. All right, I'll talk to you later.
All
Bye.
right, man. I'll talk to you later.